I grew up as an atheist and found God in my 20s out at a business convention in North Carolina. I had already been involved in the fan community of sci-fi, fantasy, etc., and realized that if I could get saved at a church service at a business convention, why can't I start doing the same kind of thing at places I already am and grow where I'm planted? This is my mission field. For a long time, my wife was a sign language interpreter, and she was talking to strangers who were right among us. There was a nation of people that were their own nation, but they were all around us. And I realized that she had a foreign mission that was right here in my own town. I realized that so did I. I'm talking to the strangers and aliens. We're all called to be strangers and aliens. We're supposed to live lives of such a distinction. We look like we're from another planet. And some of us have a good head start on that.
You notice.
But as a result of that, I focus on this as my group. I do the same thing in my office. I'll start Bible studies since I'm surrounded by geeks there. But this is where my heart really is. The sci-fi, fantasy, horror fans. Out of the, 5,000 people that come to this convention, whatever it is, we know that some portion of us are going to be Christians. Why not get together, realize that we're not alone, get some fellowship together. And although, as Chad said, horror and Christianity seem to be opposites, if you look at it superficially, I don't think they are. The scariest book I've ever read is the Bible. Got monsters, dragons, deaths, sacrifice, all. It should be at least R-rated, right? On the shelf.
Oh my gosh. This one's solid, in which case we just got
The plagues.
Yeah. But by bringing Christianity to the realm of horror, where it already is, just bringing to light what already exists, that is a way that we can reach others.
Because if you think about it, a person who is deeply looking into the horror thing, they're probably not going to pick up. I mean, they're probably not going to go but they're not going to pick up a book that looks off with bunches of colors and bright and shiny, happy, sparkling unicorn type thing. They're not going to that book. So it's another way also. I know it's.
That's a different panel.
Yeah.
Got an hour rating.
That's our panel.
What are some of your favorite movies that bring together old and new?
I would say, and I don't think M. Night Shyamalan is Christian. I do know that's kind of influences, but I don't know.
I still haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's good. I don't. Yeah, it's got a twist, which actually has me out for a full week. I really enjoyed that. I don't want to say it changed my life, but it was just amazing to watch, and it was so inspiring that you can take something that's kind of scary, and yet you can still have that redemptive thinking, and you can still show it. So I really that was
Tracy?
I have not seen The Devil, but that makes me think of The Devil's Advocate, which I always
I like
thought
that
should
one
be
too.
a very, I mean, it's an adult story for certain, but I always thought that should be included in it because, I mean, there was Al Pacino, and he was like, look at me, nobody ever sees me coming. They just ignore me. I'm the little guy, and that's how he likes it, you know. And I just thought, you know, wouldn't it be great if entertainment was just entertainment, and we didn't kind of have the little Christian tag on it, but we had entertainment out there that had a message to it. I mean, how many times have you seen a message movie? You're always seeing a moral to the story. So we don't have to be done to have a redemptive story. And, you know, and at the end of Devil's Advocate, there was a chance.
Yep.
I don't know.
There's
The best moral
website
that you can tell is the one that they don't
Movie
realize.
Ministries. Yeah. Website called Movie Ministries. You go out there and they take popular movies, sci-fi, horror, whatever, and turn them into Bible studies. You can get one for The Matrix or Pirates of the Caribbean, something like that. Taking a piece of popular entertainment and looking for God in it.
And see, that's the thing is that if you look for it, you'll find it. If you want to look for evil and everything, you'll find it. But if you want to look for a redemptive story, for Christ, for
I think now's a good time to plug the Chris's message tomorrow, where he's going to be a fun gun free man. Hopefully not the movie, because I don't think anything good is fun.
I don't understand that. I thought everyone would like that. That's all I hear is other people.
It started with a really bad CG.
If we're going down the line talking about our favorite horror movies that pertain to this town, I've also got to go with Devil, but my favorite one right now, and it's one I just watched last week. It was The Right. It just came out in 2009.
I remember the ads, but I haven't seen it.
And Anthony Hopkins plays but he plays an exorcist in the movie, and yeah, you can kind of get a feel for what exorcism's really like in The Exorcist, but they actually did heavy research for The Right, and you get chills. I've looked up how to, the way the Catholic Church uses exorcism and how to deal with demonic possession, and the level of realism in that movie, it'll blow you away. And there's a great message at the end of it, and brilliant performances all over. It's Anthony.
I'll add another tick on the recommendation for Devil. I thought that was great.
3 out of 4 panelists agree.
Another Shyamalan movie that I thought was good as far as that same kind of theme goes is Signs.
Swing away.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I get chills.
Little shivers on the spine.
I'm also a very big fan of Scott Derrickson's Exorcism of Emily Rose. Yeah, that's.
I watched that in July.
I watched it in Florida with the lights on, and I still got
Yeah, it's probably one of the few movies that have scared me to any degree as an adult, and therefore it has risen to the level of one of my favorites. And you know, I didn't know anything about Scott Derrickson at the time. Never heard of him until I watched the movie, and I got to the end, saw the message that it had at the end. Couldn't help but thinking, I wonder if this guy is a Christian. I don't think, necessarily have to be to put that kind of message in. It's like Shyamalan. I actually heard that he was a practicing Hindu, and I don't know that for a fact, but, whether he is or not, he has a positive spiritual message that a Christian can agree on in at least 2 of his movies. So I know that doesn't necessarily have to be the case for you to do something like that, but as I looked up Scott and read some of his thoughts, found out that yes, he is definitely Christian. He has some very interesting, well thought out points on mixing religion and art in storytelling. And I'm hoping eventually, if we are able to keep doing panels like this at this and other conventions, maybe get him involved with coming sharing some of his ideas on the subject matter. It's going through the movie, powerful, scary experience, but then when you get to the end, just like Dave said a little bit ago, the light shone so brightly because of all the darkness you had to go through to get to that point, and then the end hits you, and it's just, I think some people were let down by it because it is a positive spiritual message at the end, but I thought it took it from being a horror movie to a great movie of any genre. It just took it to the next level because it wasn't typical, and it wasn't necessarily the most cinematic, the most Hollywood ending you could have for a movie, but it was deeper. It was a level deeper than that, and I was really impressed by that. Same thing with Frank Peretti's The Oath. That's one of my favorite fiction novels, and I enjoyed the dragons eating people and the whole horror aspect of the terrors that he wrote about. But
who doesn't enjoy dragons eating people?
Exactly, right?
Probably. Place I read, they don't always read.
But once again, you know, the horrors that we read about in the story bring out the spiritual truths to a degree that perhaps they wouldn't have otherwise. One thing that I keep hearing from people when I bring up this subject is that you know, if you're doing it as simply as a marketing gimmick, it's going to fail, which I agree with. You know, if we're putting in horror just to say, oh, you know, look, come buy my book because it's, you know, horror, whatever. If you're putting in the religion or the spiritual messages, even outside of obvious religion, just for the sake of having a spiritual message, if you're just trying to shoehorn it in where it doesn't belong, then okay, you know, why is anybody going to want to read this or see it? You know, it feels too forced. You know, it's not an enjoyable read, or it's not an enjoyable movie. But when you have a project that calls for both, and you approach both with the with a love for each one. You love the horror genre and you love the spirituality, and you're writing because you love those, then it's bound to come together in such a way that it's going to complement each other, and each section is going to make the other stronger, and go from being sections or you know, two halves into a whole that hopefully other people are going to enjoy as well as something out of.
Two movies that come about for me. One is Legion, that I like a lot more than I expected to.
I think we may have a debate, sorry, even if we back up here.
In Legion, there's essentially a second rebellion in heaven. God says, kill this person, and another angel says, no, I'm not going to let you do that, and fights the other angels. I didn't even get that from the previews. The preview was like an average monster movie or something, but there was actually more to it than I thought.
The reason I want to see it from the preview was the ice cream man with the extending limbs.
Yeah.
I play enough Twisted Metal, I want to see the crazy ice cream man.
Yes. But the one that really sticks out for me is Frailty. Frailty, you have a man raising his two children to go and kill people because those people are demons. We don't know that at all.
Seen it.
But I'm not going to spoil the ending, but it's a fantastic movie. Scary as all get out. Frailty. Yeah, it stars Bill Pullman. Game over, man, game over.
What other question? If y'all have any opinion one way or the other, if you weren't or were not a comic book fan of it, but what did y'all think of comics?
I liked it.
I liked it. I thought that it was interesting, talking about the spiritual battles that go on. that
In
people may not be
Constantine,
aware of.
Keanu Reeves plays John Constantine, who killed himself, but then was brought back 3 minutes later. But as a suicide in the mythology there, he was doomed to hell and could not redeem himself. So now that he has this second life, he is able to see angels, demons all around him, and he does what he can to fight against the darkness.
The comic books called like Hellblazer.
Yeah. Actually, you're speaking of comic books with hell in the title. I like Hellboy.
Yeah, I like
I like the Hellboy.
Oh, yeah.
What's the one that just came out? The Priest.
The priest, I
Yeah, the priest. Yeah, or priest, not the priest.
Oh, exactly.
Is it? I can't remember who that was now. In the lead.
That tells a lot about it, actually.
Yeah.
That
Well,
you can-
actually, I haven't seen it yet, but I just remember the previews.
I think that's the same one that plays the lead in Legion.
You know what? It
I
might be.
think so.
It's the guy that's from Knight's Tale.
Yeah,
He was
Paul
Chaucer.
Bettany was Chaucer. Yeah, I didn't realize he was the same guy as Priest. He's also the voice of the computer.
Exactly.
I didn't know
And
that.
I love that.
I was completely unaware of anything Constantine until my girlfriend Kristen had talked about it, and we actually stumbled across it in a $5 bin somewhere. So I was like, hey, you know, heard about this movie a little bit. Let's check it out. $5. Can't go wrong, right? And I got a package that came with a book that had some sample stories, so I read that first. So I got just the slightest introduction to Constantine before seeing the movie. I thought it was an interesting movie. I thought that the presentation of the spiritual realm of the heavens, the angels, it very much treated Christianity like a mythology, which bothered me.
Evil were of the equal, which is not what the Bible
Right,
means.
and that bothered me somewhat on a spiritual level because if we're talking about Greek mythology, we see that as mythology. If we're talking about the Bible, we as Christians see that as truth. We believe it is truth. So to see somebody take it and treat it like somebody might treat a Greek or Roman mythology, it didn't really sit well as far as that aspect of it went. But
Yeah, the Bible's not a fairy tale, but they did a good job of showing the conflict between good and evil.
I thought Tilda Swinton
And then good
was
could win,
yeah.
or will win.
Exactly, and I thought Tilda was just incredible as Gabriel, even though I didn't like the portrayal of Gabriel in the story so much, because I feel like that, well, here's somebody who's on our side, and we're kind of treating him not really respectfully.
And the devil was a great actor too. Don't
Yes,
worry.
oh,
He
yes.
was so good.
I think that might have been the best devil.
Better than Viggo Mortensen.
I think so. This guy.
My favorite devil was still Al Pacino.
Oh yeah.
Devil's
Just bizarre. What a bizarre.
I really.
One more really good devil's depiction was Angel Heart. Mickey Rourke is the hero, and it was De Niro was the devil.
Was that before Mickey? Was that a long time
That
ago?
was one of his very first movies,
Okay,
yes.
so that was
Well, when he looked like a good guy.
yeah, that's right. I'm like, wait, I'm not seeing it.
But in that one, a private detective is hired to find a singer who's gone missing. Turns out he was hired by the devil. And it turns out the detective is the singer. And he didn't know it. He kind of traded his soul with somebody else to escape his own misdeeds. Interesting.
I want to go back to the comments you made on Hellboy, because this is a good example of how you can jump to conclusions on something and make a preconceived notion based on what other people have told you without getting a first-hand look at it. I initially avoided Hellboy because what I knew about it was that we have a demon from hell who becomes a superhero, and that bothered me.
Each protagonist didn't click in your head.
As a Christian, that the notion of that bothered me.
It was treated too lightly.
Right. Nothing good comes out of hell. But and you got to be careful, because the devil masquerades as an angel of light. When you start putting your trust in him, he's going to stab you in the back, and bad things happen. But then, when somebody lent me the movie that said, "You really got to see this. I'm going to loan it to you." So I'm not paying to see it. I was like, give it a shot. And I was blown away. I was like, oh man, I've been missing out. and so in the second,
movies are also very good.
what was
The animated.
Oh really?
Yeah,
It's
they're also
animated
very
was
good.
good. Yeah, I'd definitely be willing to check
They
that
have
out.
2 or 3 of them.
When you pull back on the origin story of Hellboy, you can look at the standard Christian definition of all demons being horrible, don't mess with it. But when you look at all the demons that we have are ones that originally they stood with Satan and said we're fighting with him and got swept up. Hellboy is a offspring of one. So he, unlike other demons, didn't make the conscious decision to defy God. And it becomes a nature versus nurture kind of thing. Because it's an infant
available to anyone.
taken away from a bad situation, hell itself, and raised by a religious, good man.
One lots of Hellboy as kind of a tongue-in-cheek religious horror movie. I also like Dogma, which I think
The angels in Dogma, the costumes, and
I loved it.
blew me away.
My mom would
Only thing I'll watch from
try to
this.
watch the video.
Oh, man.
yeah, that and Daredevil are the only things I can tolerate of it. And like, maybe Daredevil just because he's covered his face most of the time. I don't know. It's not his fault. I just don't like his acting really.
Who's that?
Ben Stiller. Not Ben Stiller. Ben Affleck.
Oh no, yeah, I watched some of All Fears and walked out of it. I'm like, we're all gonna die. He's in charge. The world really is.
But on the other hand, I will watch almost anything with Matt Damon.
Yeah,
So it kind of cancels out.
yeah.